Dude.
So very good afternoon to Ajal present over here. We are from one of the remote center of Kerala from Federal Institute of Science and Technology, ISAT. So myself Ajal A J from Electronics and Communication Engineering Department from ISAT, and yourself Mr. Srijit KR from Electronics and Instrumentation Department, and Mr. Praveen from Electronics and Instrumentation Department, and finally our group consists of Professor Thampi from SNGC Engineering College. So let us begin the slide. Next. So this is our institution. This is one of the institution which is our remote center in Kerala. Next one.
Antham Mavapradishanti Yo Vidyamuvasade Tado Bhuva Ivatetamu Yau Vidyayam Tatha.
So this is the slogan in Sanskrit which deals regarding Vidya and Avidya, which deals with one is known as Tamam, which is the negative impact of what we call as the education which is not in a proper manner, and the second one is Vidya, which is the ultimate knowledge factor. So we will start out our slides. So here our topic is nothing but Bloom's taxonomy based high impact teaching based upon action research. So the major part of our presentation includes, first part is the context part, the second part is its initiative, and finally we will be dealing about with what are the required possibilities of our presentation. So the very first and the foremost thing in the educational part is the teaching pedagogy. So it basically consists of a perfect curriculum, and then it will be dealing with the essential teaching learning ethics. Fine. So here we will be going with the penultimate shell of education. So the first one deals with the standard based curriculum at the center, and then it deals with the values and beliefs. Then the third part is the educational approach, and finally it will be moving with the teaching learning process. So here we will be discussing about what is meant by the educational approach and the strategy that we should do in such a manner that the futuristics of education can be transformed by the educationalists or the teachers. So previously what we have been done is that the education or the curriculum has been made out in such a manner like what we call as the Gurukula teaching, where the teacher will be the sole authority who will be discussing a lot and the students will be a mute listener. And now the time has been varied or changed in such a manner that what happens is that the teaching learning ethics have been rebuilt or modified in different manner, and such that the education has been prolonged or moved out into a listener or learner centric aspect than the educationalist or the teacher centric activity. So just get it out. So next we will be dealing with what is the permanent problems that the faculties or the students can be faced. So first I will be dealing with what are the problems that the students will be faced upon. One will be the lack of concentration, motivation, then the vocabulary that is available, and finally some boring lectures. Okay. So some another aspects like the shyness and the fear factor will also concentrate on the basics where the students will be keeping in a bumpy manner. So here, in order to take the underlying into a different initiative, we are introducing some methodology in such a manner that these negatives can be moved up. So everything comes under the curriculum frame, and it will be like a football court where the students will be having a breeding ground based upon the curriculum structure. So it will deal or which will be moving out from what we mean by the number one point, the co-curricular activity, and the second point we call it as the extracurricular activities. So as far as right now, even in our college, I have been faced the same thing. One of my students who was not that much able to listen my class, he used to bunk the class, and even he will be having a lesser score in the examination. But fortunately, when I have been gone through him, he was one of the state level champion in the board badminton game in our college, Federal Institute of Science and Technology. So the thing has been different. Why? The marking has been given out in a different manner, like the student who is a scholar in his own teaching and learning process will be having a highest grade point, and the student who is not at all moving out from the teaching point or learning point and moving towards an extracurricular activity like sports is having a lesser bargain in their marking scheme. So here it's a difference or a paradigm shift between the teacher and faculty. So actually here in engineering colleges we will nomenclature a teacher as a faculty, which is nothing but a facilitator who can give out a different or collateral difference between a lecturing method, demonstration method, then some heuristic and project management method by which we can imbibe the teaching learning procedure as such. So this is one of the very comedial slide that one of my students has been given out in Tamil Nadu. So when I am doing my MTech in VLSI design from Benarimal Institute of Technology, after all when I came back in order to take my post completion certificate, what happened is that one guy was taking a call to his friend and he was explaining in a different manner that the teacher is going to have a class in Sunday. The reason is that we have to keep up the portion and make out the portion completion status. So the major disadvantage with the student is that the student communities want to have a leave on Sundays, and the faculty itself is going to deal about the portion completion status. So this is one of the major blunder, and he told in Tamil that our class from the that means whether he is taking or completing the class or syllabus, what is it for a student like me to come and attend his class on Sundays? Fine, next slide. So we are going to discuss in detail about what is meant by action research. So it's a pedagogical method by which you will be going with a set of information and the data-driven application can be imbibed or synthesized to the student's point of view. So the next part is the purpose of action research. So actually in the case of action research we will be dealing or discussing about a lot regarding what is the purpose of teaching learning method and interaction, and finally the high impact competitiveness inside the classroom. So within the classroom we are going to discuss our topic as nothing but a general evaluation tool. So I am going to put forward you another question. How can I use action research in my classroom? So this is a methodology by which even the students and faculties have to interact themselves, and other than that, the faculty should be a psychologist of a student and he should understand why the student may be absent or leave for the previous session and how we can tackle him in a different manner other than in a previous or very orthodox manner by scolding or shouting a student or barking at the student is not that much important or necessary. So the student should be realized that this faculty can fetch me to a success. Fine. So the another question is, what are the benefits for the faculty and student? The teaching community while you are going with a modern method known as the action research scheme. So the advantage is you can go for a reinforcement and finally you can modify yourself in a different manner. Both the teacher point of view or we can call here as the faculty or facilitator point of view, and the next one will be definitely to changing the perceptions which is based upon what is meant by action research and how the teaching learning paradigm shift can bridge the gap between the student community and the teaching fraternity. So now the initial question is that how or why the teacher or the facilitator can deploy this action research in his or her classroom within the 50 or 55 minutes, which is less than 1 hour time. Fine. So here is that by sharing you can learn the ideas in a different manner, and that different manner will penetrate yourself in order to increase your knowledge level, and even it is explained as the IQ level of an engineering candidate who is is joining to the BTech degree course and moving out with his final year is getting depreciated. So in order to make out a self-estimation or evaluation, we have to go with a particular method which will pertain him to success. So here we are having a model. It is nothing but our Newton's third